The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think
He missed the complete. That is crazy
As I
stuff.
said, Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through. He tags Richard Eklund.
Welcome to our broadcast of the GreenValleyLake.com MX-5 World Tour. It's been 2 weeks since the last race, and I'm sure the drivers must be itching to race again. And watching them right now, they are looking pretty racy. This is season number 7, and it's round number 7 of the series, and we are bringing it to you live from Sebring in Florida, USA. Hi, I'm Richard, and with me today we've got Brian Corwin and Bill Zahn. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Richard. Glad to be back. We had a nice little break there. Actually, last week I thought we did have a race. For whatever reason, I emailed Joe Peak, our spotter for today, and I asked him, where is everybody? And it turns out I was not reading the schedule correctly. So nonetheless, Richard, it's great to be back.
And Bill, how about yourself, mate?
I missed not being here last week, so it's good to be back. I missed you, Rich.
Rightio. And our director, of course, is the one and only Giancarlo Lenzi. Now, Brian, this is an iconic track, and it's home to the 12 Hours of Sebring, etc. We're using the short version today. Tell us a little bit about this track.
Certainly. This is basically an SCCA style racetrack. It's very short. It's the oldest permanent racetrack here in the U.S., and it was the first race in 1950. It was laid out on the runways of an old air base and surrounding roads. The track today is 1.75 miles long, or 2.816 kilometers. It features 11 turns, which are very flat and technical with lots of late apexes, but once you get the hang of it, it's a lot of fun. The track is quite bumpy in a lot of places, as we were talking about before the broadcast, and the verges are very dangerous. It can cause cars to spin quite easily, so be careful, drivers. Today we'll be racing 35 laps.
Good stuff. Now, Bill, the championship is looking pretty interesting at the moment. Tell us about that.
Okay, we can look at that right now. Now, Richard Eklund is our leader right now, but he's off today. We're missing 3 out of the top 10 drivers today. We don't have Richard Eklund in third. We don't have Jan Koumans isn't here today. He's in St. Petersburg, Russia, watching our broadcast from the Four Seasons hotels there. Hi, Jan. How you doing? And we're also missing Thomas Szabo in 6th position. Now, Freitas is here. He's in 2nd place. Yamans is in 4th place. Now, if Yamans is back by 96 points, if you get more than 75 points behind the leader, you're really more than a race away from catching up. We have a small field today, so it should be a good opportunity for some of these drivers to get a higher position than they're used to. Back to you, Rich.
Yep, I'm noticing there are only 20 drivers in today's race, so that is a pretty small field for this series. We've normally had more than that, but being that as it may, we are now about 3 minutes from the start of this race, so let us go to our regular segment now, the keys to the race, brought to us by Cozy Cabins in Green Valley Lake. Please visit their website at cozycabinsgreenvalleylake.com. Brian, what are the keys to this race today?
Well, as I said earlier, the track is very difficult and technical, so mastering the track does take a little bit of practice, especially in turns 5, 6, and 8. Getting a good exit from turn 8, which goes into the Big Bend, and is really the only real straightaway, is very important because that's where a lot of the passing will be done. You want to get the hairpin right because that's a great overtaking point and disaster area at the same time, as cars are likely to go wide should they get bunched up side by side. And also, you want to get a good pit stop. As we've seen in the past, some drivers like to duck in early. I don't know if that would be a good strategy today because of the shortness of the track, so I think pitting when your tank's on fumes might be the call today.
Okay, thank you, Brian. And we remind viewers that this is brought to us by Cozy Cabins. Now, Bill, I think we should go through the grid at this point in time. We have the quick 6 settled by now. So why don't you take us through the first 10, please?
Sure, I'm happy to do it. And we have a name that we don't get to see very much, going to lead these guys into the first corner, and it's Simon Van Doon from Holland. Now, Van Doon posted the fourth fastest qualifying time, but he currently sits 11th in the points. So the top 6 drivers who qualify, they're inverted, reverse inverted, and so Simon's going to lead them down into the first corner. In outside of row 2 is going to be Brad Wooden, and then we have in the second row, then we have Uris Jelenko. Outside of the second row is Sergio Mora. In the inside of the third row is Amjad Yaman, and outside of the third row is Freitas. And I can go ahead and do the last ones here. 7th is Chan. 8th is Timo Tulianen. 9th is Yuri Yanis, who hasn't had a lot of time to practice, and he's just learning, but I look for him to improve and work his way up through the race. And in 10th spot is our youngster from South Africa, Heinrich Lorenz. So keep an eye on him. Back to you, Rich.
Okay, so that's the top 10. We don't have the official grid from iRacing at the moment, so we will just leave it at that top 10, and we'll call the rest of them after spot number 11, starting at spot number 11 once they start gridding. Now, we do have very few seconds left before the start of this race. People will be finishing up right now, Bill, and I'll get to you very quickly and ask you, what are your thoughts on this race? Who do you think will come away with the win today?
Well, you know, with Eklund and Koemans being out of the mix, and even Zabel for that matter, it's a great opportunity for some of these other guys to get up there and get a point. But I really think we're looking at a two-man race here. It's going to be between, I think, Freitas and Mora. So if I have to pick one, I'll go with Sergio Mora today. What do you think, Bri?
Well, Brian is having some technical problems at the moment and has left the server right now, so we'll wait for him to get back. They are starting to grid up now, and we've got the grid, so I'll take it up from spot number 11. Sam McAleer is in spot 11, Stefan Overgaard in 12th, 13th is Benjamin Lanouette, 14th is Joseph Ero, 15th is Tom Rathy, 16th Kim Vater, then Chuck Johnson, Mihai Mesasan. As the lights go out, I'm going to call the start of the race right now. They are certainly revving up those engines, and the green flag falls, and they are heading off. And Simon Van Doon leads them off at this point in time. He is followed very, very closely right now by Brad Wooten, and in third place Uris Jelenko, and behind him Sergio Mura. So Sergio Mura, your fancy for this race, Brian, is currently in fourth place. A very clean start as they go through the first sector, and turn 2 that is, and now they go to this 90-degree turn. Very, very bumpy around here, still being led off by Simon Van Doon. Good racing from him. Followed by Brad Wooten. Brad Wooten is really, really coming into his own as the series progresses. Bill?
There was a big accordion effect starting about 10th position back, and about 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th kept going nose to tail into each other, but it looks like everyone's okay.
Yeah, just looking at Heinrich Lorenz, who you mentioned earlier on, Bill, he's got a huge dent in the rear of his car, so he's been involved most certainly in a rear ender. And with that damage there, one has little hopes for him getting into the front of the race. But I do see that we do have Brian Corwin back with us. Brian, are you with us, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. I got you loud and clear. My latency's a little high, so hopefully my internet stays up. It looks like I got word that Jeffrey Bell has gone off the track, so I'll go back and figure out what happened there. In the meantime, Simon Van Doon showing a very good pace here at the beginning of the race. Richard, let me get caught back up with you here, and I'll be happy to report with you.
Okay, now I'm going back to the front here where we have Amjad Yaman and Sergio Mura. They've touched twice now. Amjad, third time touch. Amjad forces into the right-hander there, very bumpy. not the best thing for him to be doing. Sergio Mura's not going to be very happy about that. In the meantime, we have Freitas. Yaman very wide there coming out onto the big bend. Sergio Mura wisely just tucks in behind him, a little scared to tangle there. But we do have Arthur Chan coming up on the back of them as well, all going down to the hairpin. This is going to be something dangerous. We have Freitas on the outside. Amjad Yaman jumps in front of him, and they go side by side through the final turns before the pit stop. This is quite exciting right now, but Amjad Yaman made no friends with Sergio Mura, Bill, in the touches that he gave him.
Yeah, those two know each other, and looks like they're going to be okay, but it's they're going to have a lot to talk about in the post-race forum.
Yes, Sergio Mura's gotten away now from Freitas and Yaman. Yaman's had a pretty rocky start as they go through the turn 2. But he's still in there, and his car still looks good. So back to the front now, Brad. What is happening with our leaders?
Well, right now, Simon Van Doon is doing everything he can to keep Brad Wooden off of him. Joris Jelenko follows up very close behind, and Sergio Mora, who was involved with a little bit of touch and go earlier on, has also caught up to the train. So we have a four-way battle for the lead at the moment. Just wanted to go back a few laps. It looks like Kim Vader had a little bit of trouble. He was seen going down pit lane. As we look outside, as Brad Wooden looks inside on Simon Van Doon, he tucks back in. They go around the hairpin, like we said earlier on in the track, or the race guide, that this is a very tricky corner of the track where cars typically will go wide under heavy braking, Richard. So it looks like Joris Jelenko is trying to make a challenge here on Brad Wooden now.
Yes, Joris Jelenko right on the bumper of Brad Wooden. He goes to the outside, and he brakes much later and does manage to pass him, but Brad Wooden, having braked earlier, has a better exit, and he retakes the position. Still now in second place. Sergio Mura looking to catch up to these guys, has caught up with them. Sergio Mura is very, very fast at this track. I have experience in racing with Sergio Mura at this very configuration. I do expect him to try and challenge these guys and possibly get up to the front. But at the moment, I have to say, Bill, Simon Van Doon doing a terrific job.
Yeah, it's one of the beauties of the quick six. Now, you'd never see Simon Van Doon lead in the field like this. Well, I don't mean to downplay his talents, but he's really a 10th place driver for the most part. It's nice to see him up in front, and he knows how to drive. He's going to give these guys all they're asking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's actually got a little break on Brad Wooden at the moment. Brad Wooden, of course, battling with Jelenko and coming up behind them, Sergio Mura. That's given Van Doon a little bit of a break. But at the moment, they're a little spread out once again, Brian, so they'll all play catch-up again. And I don't know if Simon Van Doon can hold on to this lead for much longer. These guys are starting to look pretty racy.
He looks like a stranded bleeding sailor in a swamp full of piranhas, honestly. He is doing everything he can to hold on, but as you see, Wooden is all over the back of him. Now, back at Brands Hatch, Wooden had a great race, and Joris Jelenko as well, also making a very racy move as they both go inside and basically push Van Doon out of the way. Not physically, but, you know, it was an intimidation matter. Now Mora's going to try and outbrake and go on the inside. It looks like he's going to get his. Yao Freitas is even looking to go inside. Bill, it looks like Van Doon is either giving into intimidation or he just got caught out because, like we said, in this twisty section, if you get stuck outside, you're going to be stuck outside for a while.
Yeah, you know, and there's action up front. There's action all the way back through the field, too. We go back to Arthur Chan in 10th place. He's in a battle with Heinrich Lorenz. Now, on the first lap, there was an accordion effect that involved Lorenz and Lanowitz and Arrow and Rathy and Vader. They all seem to came out of it. Rathy has left. He got tangled up with Joseph Arrow and ended up in the wall. So I think it's another early exit for the welcome in car for Tom Rathy. Back to you guys up front.
Well, that's really unfortunate, Bill. We would have liked to have seen him up closer to the front. He's a really good driver. He just doesn't seem to have much luck at any of these races. But right now I'm watching a pack here which is being led by Sam McAleer. Behind him, Jay Yanis, Timo Tuliainen behind him. These three are battling very fiercely with Arthur Chan coming up just behind them. They're battling for the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th position. So they're just the second pack of cars behind the top 6 or so. But a very fierce battle going on here as they exit turn number 7, I believe, going into the big bend right there. And this is where everybody has their foot flat to the floor. And who is brave enough to brake late? As you see, Jay Hannes having a look on the outside. He goes now once again to the inside, decides to tuck in behind Sam McAleer. Arthur Chan showing bravery, trying a move on Timo Tuliainen, doesn't make it stick, has to tuck back in. Some very, very fierce battling going on right here. Brad.
Brian. Anyways,
Brian.
I wanted to say that Brad Wooten has run away with the lead a little bit right here now, but Juris Jelenko has caught back up with him. Sergio Mora's taken 3rd place, and Yao Freitas also gotten past Simon Van Doon. Now that leaves Amjad Yaman and Sam McAleer, who have been battling for a while to try and get past Van Doon. It is worth noticing that Lawrence had a little bit of contact with Stefan Overgaard. Overgaard, as always, has run the EPS series before this in the previous race, so he might have a little bit of driver fatigue, but he is a very skilled driver nonetheless, so he is making a move aggressively here at the beginning of the race. Right now we're going to Yair Giannis and Sam McAleer as they come around through these twisty bits onto the front stretch. Richard, what are you seeing on the track?
Yeah, I'm watching that very battle now with Jay Yanis and Sam McAleer. Jay Yanis right on the back of Sam McAleer. They were a little way off the guys in front of them. Jay Yanis goes to the outside. Sam McAleer plays it defensive, stays on the inside. He's in the middle of the track. He squeezes Yanis a little bit. Yanis has to back right off in order, and Timo Tuliainen right behind them has a quick look, but then decides it's too risky and falls back behind him. So Yanis a little bit of work to do to try and get past Sam McAleer, who's making his car as wide as he possibly can there, Bill.
Yeah, and while we were talking, there's battles everywhere. Back up front, these guys in the front are just going at a tooth and nail here. And we still have Brad Wooten in the front. Sergio Mora now has moved into 2nd place, and Freitas is in 3rd, and Juris Jelenko is in 4th. I think it's only a matter of time before Freitas and Mora start putting the pressure on Wooten. But remember from last race, Wooten was right up there with these leaders and actually was looking at a podium spot until he made a mistake there at the very end.
Yeah, that's correct. And I'm here to tell you guys, he's got a little bit more experience under his belt racing with these guys. He has actually got quite a decent break, about 0.4 of a second on Sergio Mora. I do expect Sergio to catch him because Sergio is a master at this track. It's proven in a number of races that I've seen him in, and also in some practice that I've done with Sergio very recently on this track. So I do expect Sergio to catch him, but at this point he is acquitting himself excellently, Brad Wooten, and I expect him to hopefully get a podium spot today, which he missed out on last time. Meanwhile, behind them we have Yao Freitas just lurking there, Brian, and I expect him to be a factor as well at the end of this race.
Yeah, before we go back to the battle, I just want to make a mention that Kim Vader has finally been seen going down pit road, so it's good to see that he hasn't been rendered out of the race. Brad Wooten right now is under attack by Sergio Mora and Yao Freitas. They're both making very good pace here at the 9th lap of this race, coming up to the 10th lap here shortly. And I think we're going to see a really good battle from Sergio Mora and Brad Wooten, trying to get that lead spot before going down pit road. As we've seen in the past, pit road this season has been where a lot of drivers have either made or broke their race. So, excuse me. So I think pit strategy might be a little more crucial than I led on to earlier on in today's race.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We now see that Sergio Mora cuts the grass there. Hopefully didn't get a slowdown from that. Doesn't look like it. But now he's challenging Brad Wooten, and he did get a slowdown. He did get a slowdown. He's slowing down significantly there, so that means that he did get a cut course penalty. He went across the grass, And in iRacing, if you do that, iRacing will give you a slowdown penalty of around about 2 seconds. So he's fallen back now quite a bit from Brad Wooten, but now there's a new challenger to Brad, and that is none other than João Freitas. João Freitas right on the back of Brad Wooten as they go into the 90-degree right-hander. Brad Wooten very good through there, but so is Freitas. A fierce battle will no doubt develop here. But for the moment, let's see what's happening further back. Back to you there, Bill.
Well, there was a battle with Giannis and
Hang on,
McAleer.
just a second there, Bill. We're on board with Freitas. Our director is giving us information, so we'll just stick with this battle for a little while, and we'll come back to you as Freitas looks on the outside, brakes because he would have hit Brad Wooten in the rear. Now that slows him down a little bit, but he gets a very, very good exit from the hairpin, and he's back on the tail of Brad Wooten. So this battle is certainly developing. I'll be watching this battle, and we'll just hear your report there, Bill.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Yuri Yanis was in a battle with McAleer and Timo Tullian, and he got into the grass and he looped it into the wall. So his car is damaged. I don't expect him to do very well for the rest of the race. I'll keep an eye on him.
Well, at this point in time, Bill, there are 3 drivers who are out of the race, or that's what iRacing is showing us. Joseph Ero exited early. Tom Rathy, you mentioned, had that accident, and he is out of the race. And Jay Yanis currently must be taking a tow, or he is in fact out of the race. So the attrition has started. And Jay Yanis, we did have fingers crossed that he would have a good race today. That has not been the case, and he is currently out of the race. Back to the front there, Brian. The battle is still on for the first, second, and third place.
Yeah, it was when we were on board with João Freitas. I actually went on board myself, and it looked like he almost took the lead away from Brad Wooten. He looked inside, going into a very tight right-handed corner, and Brad Wooten left view almost completely. It was really interesting to see that Wooten was able to keep the momentum up to get around him. Speaking of momentum being up, Sergio Mora has recovered from his penalty, and he is all over the back of João Freitas. He is actually trying to make a push for second place and get that position back so he can again challenge for first place. And then looks like Uros Jelenko has fallen back a little bit, so the top 3 are the only people right now battling for the lead, Richard.
Yeah, it's Uros Jelenko was actually in front of Brad Wooten. He's got a little bit of damage on the rear of his car, so I'm wondering whether he had a little coming together with Sergio Mora. But Sergio Mora has caught up very, very quickly from that slowdown penalty. He's all over the back of João Freitas, and I expect him to be challenging soon. I think, Bill, your call that Sergio Mora might win this race is a good one, but I tell you what, Brad Wooten's going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, what happens is the cream always rises here, and you got Freitas and Mora right now battling Wooten, and that's probably how it should be. And Simon Van Doon has dropped down to 6. I'm going to keep an eye on Timo Tullian, and he's running in 7th. I want to see if he can catch up to Van Doon. He's about 5 seconds behind him. Timo Tullian has not had the kind of season that we expected from him in his sophomore season. He had a great freshman season. We expect a lot out of him, but right now he's struggling in 7th in the points. Back to you, Rich.
Yeah, Timo, I'm watching him now in the beautiful Eagle's Nest Tavern car, and we do see he was following behind Arthur Chan, and Arthur Chan has gone into the pits. So Arthur Chan is the first of our pit stops, genuine pit stops, I would believe, although there is someone else in the pits as well, and I think that is Sergio Mora, is it? Yes, Sergio Mora and Arthur Chan in the pits on lap number 13. That is quite interesting, Brian.
Yeah, also PR Sunnaswaran, I'm not sure if I got that name right. I think he's new to the series, am I right, Bill?
Yes,
he's also made a pit stop. Yeah, so we were going to welcome him to the series. He also made a pit stop. Also, right before you were talking about Timo Tullian, and he lost a little bit of time as he went off and lost his spot to, I forget who it was. Anyways, he's trailing against Simon Van Doon now. Right now, the battle with João Freitas and Brad Wooten is still on. Neither one of them have pit yet, and they are all over each other's bumpers. So the intensity is definitely there. Hopefully, Sergio Mora can get a good clean spot so when they both pit, he comes out right behind them or maybe even in front of them there.
Yeah,
Richard.
I want to jump in here because I think Sergio Mora has taken a page out of the Jan Koeman's book of pitting. He was being slowed down by Wooten and Freitas. So instead of passing him on the track, he's going to come in. He's going to get that early pit stop. He's going to run some hot laps. And I'm going to say that when Wooten and Freitas come in, if they don't pit early, they're going to find out that Mora's going to jump them.
I think that you may well be right there, Bill. Sergio Mora is back out on the track as we speak, and at this point in time, we've got, are we getting information that other people have pitted as well? Timo's off, Chan is in.
Here's Jelenko.
Uros Jelenko's in, so the pit stop, everybody's doing their pit stops at this point. But just back to Sergio Mora, he's now got a clear track ahead of him. There's just one car in front of him, that's Chuck Johnson, which shouldn't be a problem for Sergio Mora. He's got a lot of class and he knows this track like the back of his hand, so this is going to be good for him. Meanwhile, let's catch up with those pit stops, Bill.
Yeah, I think we have McAleer who's come in for a pit stop, so a lot of these guys are coming in early. This is a 35-lap race, so they're coming in at lap 12. They should be able to go the distance from here. It's going to be really interesting. We'll keep an eye on this, but I really think Wooten and Freitas are missing the boat here. This is like yacht racing. When the guy behind you tacks, you've got to tack to cover. They've got to come in and get this pit now. That's what I would think they should do. Back to you, Rich.
Yeah, well, see, they are in a battle at the moment. Freitas, we're talking about Freitas and Wooten. Wooten's still leading this race, by the way. It's a great job by Brad Wooten. I can only give him huge props because this guy has come out, he's joined the series. We know he's a good driver. He's challenged these really top drivers, and this is not the first time now. This is the second race, I should say, that he is leading laps and doing it well. And these guys are actually fighting to catch him and struggling to pass him. So he is doing an absolutely marvelous job. But I do think you're right. We should see some pit stops from these guys. Otherwise, they might leave it too late because they will have to calculate exactly how much fuel they need to finish the race, and that can be difficult while you're driving, and specifically, Brian, while you're battling with someone. So they might well lose out.
Yeah, I want to jump back a lap or two now because there was a huge development that we didn't get to. It looks like Stefan Morian.
Freitas in the pits right now.
Freitas is in the pits. Sorry, this is breaking news though. Morian was spun by another car, which turned out to be Urs Jelenko, and Jelenko went into the wall. He took a huge amount of damage, and it looks like he's going to be out of the race. That is going to be a huge downfall in points for Mr. Jelenko. It looks like Morian will be able to go on and finish the race as people start filtering through on their pit stops. Back to you, Richard.
Yep, I am seeing that Urs Jelenko is not on the track at the moment. He's possibly taking a tow, or he's finished up and left the race. But he's not the only one. He joins a whole bunch of guys. We see Stefan Morian now in the pits, and hopefully he will come back out and race. So,
Rich, let me jump in here for a minute. Freitas has come out of the pits, and he's now probably 2 seconds behind Mora. So the time that Freitas lost while he was behind Wooten has cost him. So now I really look for Mora to be in the lead here as soon as Wooten makes his pit stop.
Well, I tell you what, you made a great call there, Bill. This is exactly what's happened. Brad Wooten is the only one of the top guys who has not yet made their pit stop, and that might cost him, as you said, in the end. But certainly our friend Mr. Mora, he's done his pit stop, and for all intents and purposes, he is now leading this race, or will be once Brad Wooten does his pit stop. Behind him, we do have Jan Freitas, and Jan Freitas has also got fairly clean air in front of him, so he should be able to lay down some fast laps and try and catch Sergio Mora, because at the end of this race, that might well be where the battle is, Bill.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Amjad Yaman to make it. The leaders who haven't pitted yet are Wooden, Yaman, and Van Doon still, and Tulianen is running fourth right now. Heinrich Lawrence, these guys are all needed to come in. Overgaard's in sixth, but he needs to come in. But basically, you said it, Rich. We have Mora, who's going to be the leader, I think, when all things are said and done. Freitas is going to be running second, and I'm thinking that maybe Arthur Chan might be able to sneak into third. We'll have to watch.
Yeah, Arthur Chan's having a very good race. Let's go and have a look at Arthur. Arthur is in a pack there. He's behind Craig McKenzie, who goes off into the dirt a little bit there. That's not too big a worry, provided he doesn't spin the car, which he doesn't do. Arthur Chan has a look now on his outside. They're going 3 wide here with Sam McAleer in it as well. Arthur has cleared Craig McKenzie. He plays it defensive, stays on the inside. Sam McAleer on the outside. Arthur Chan makes it through the hairpin and takes the position, but he's still under challenge from Sam McAleer, who's having a good race. He does look as if he's got some damage there. He's right on the back of Arthur Chan. He goes to the inside, sorry, to the outside. Arthur Chan stays on the inside as they approach turn number 2, which is called, it's actually turn number 1 for these guys on this particular track. He gets away with a nice entry and exit from that turn. Sam McAleer has to tuck in behind him. Arthur Chan really playing it defensive, but now he has to go into the normal line to take that very, very fast right-hander as they go up to the 90 degrees. So lots of action right here, Bill, and a good battle here between McAleer and Chan.
Yeah, these guys have been going at it all race, and it's Tulianen's in that same group with them, so it's going to be interesting to see how they come out. It's nice to see Stefan Morian is with. He's a longtime veteran, and give him a shout out here. Hi, Stefan, from the Friendly Canadian. He's known at it. He hasn't raced much this season. It was good to see him racing with us. He's a lap down right now, currently in 17th place in a beautiful painted car by Zonskins there. I'll take a little credit for that one. It's a good one. Back to you, Rich.
Well, I can tell you what, his paint scheme is a little messed up because he's got a lot of damage on the right side of his car in the rear. He's still circulating, which is good, but as you say, a lap down. Let us hope that he can move forward a little bit. Now, Brian, somebody we haven't actually looked at at all is Chuck Johnson. Now, Chuck Johnson has made a return to the series. He was a regular in past series, and he's obviously got his stuff together, and he is now back in this race. He's got a lovely paint scheme there. I'm seeing black and white. I hope that I'm calling that correctly. And he's circulating quite nicely and doing a good job, although he also has some damage on his car. Doesn't seem to be a lot of cars without any damage here, Brian.
Well, it sounds like we got a bit of trouble with Brian's technical issues, so he's might hopefully be back later on. But in the meantime, this is Joe Peak. I'm going to fill in for him. Yeah, it's been a little bit of chaos everywhere so far in this race.
Okay, so let us just have a look at where we are then. Sorry to hear about Brian's problems. He has had some technical issues earlier on in the race. So thank you, Joe, for filling in. Let us now have a look. Brad Wooten, Bill, still out there, still leading this race, still has not pitted. What is in his mind right now?
Well, our top 5 drivers have yet to pit. Wooten, Yaman, Van Doon, Overgaard, and well, we have Heinrich Lawrence is coming in right now. I just think it's inevitable here that he's going to be in trouble. I think he's going to end up in third. The question is how much is he holding back on Yaman? It doesn't seem much at all. So we'll have to keep an eye on where Yaman comes in relationships to Mora and Freitas, because Yaman has the speed to race with these guys.
And I dare say that Brad Wooten has the speed too, as we are finding out week by week right now. But I want to go and have a look. I'm getting information that Brad Wooten is now entering the pits, which is correct. Let's see where he comes out there, Joe, because this is going to be crucial to his chances.
Yeah, this is going to be very important. I know earlier on Sergio Mora was battling it out with Chuck Johnson for a while, so he got held up a little bit himself. But I think it's going to be a tall order for Brad to be able to get out in time. Yeah, in fact, it looks like he's still in his pit stall, and Mora is cycling on by right now. He's just about to go past the exit. So this should be as we expected with Wooten being jumped.
Yeah, that's right. Bill called it correctly. Sergio Mura, very canny, did that early pit stop. He was one of the first guys to pit. He is now going to, once iRacing catches up with all the placings, we should see that Sergio Mura will be up near the front there. Amjad Yaman, we haven't seen him pit yet, as he's in a battle here with Craig McKenzie. He passes Craig McKenzie into the hairpin. He gets a bit squirrely there, but he does negotiate the turn successfully. Let's see if he's going to charge into the pits now. I would expect him to do so, but it doesn't look like it. He's playing it to one of those very, very late pit stops, Bill.
Yeah, I'm just going the scoring and timing is a little crazy with pit stops here at this track with iRacing. It looks like Mora, from what I can tell, Mora is going to be our leader. Freitas is right behind him in second, and it looks like, I'm thinking Arthur Chan has a possibility to be third place now, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Yep, well, at the moment. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, I want to jump in. We might have seen this story before, though, because looking at the times on the pit stops, Mora had a 13-second stop, whereas Wooten and Freitas had 18 and 16 respectively. Now, we've seen drivers do amazingly fast pit stops before, but it hasn't always ended so well for them.
Well, that's right. And we do know one thing about Sergio Mura, Joe. He's very fast, but he has a tendency to run out of fuel, as we saw in one of the other series that we broadcast, the Continental Series. He ran out of fuel on the last lap, and we have seen him run out of fuel in 1 or 2 races in this Green Valley Lake Series as well. So let's hope he took on enough fuel, because 13 seconds, that seems to me like a minimum fuel that he took on there.
Absolutely. I think we need to keep our eyes on him and watch very closely towards those following laps. João Freitas, in the meantime, might be sitting pretty closely behind him. And we were pretty much right about Wooten. He has dropped back to third effectively at this point of those guys. So he's really got to get his pit strategy together, which is a very key point in this series.
Yeah, he spent quite a long time in the pits, and I was surprised by that that he spent such a very long time in the pits. 43 seconds it's showing here, whereas others have done much quicker pit stops than that. So I'm wondering whether he just took on a full fuel load, because that seems to me the sort of time you'd spend in the pits if you take on a full fuel load. But he is chasing João Freitas at the moment. He's not that far behind João Freitas, who in turn is not that far behind Sergio Mura. So if everything plays out the way we expect, we need to see what Amjad Yaman's going to do. But this might well be the first, second, third place, Bill.
Yeah, I have to correct myself. I was looking at lap times when I was mentioning Archer Chan coming into third. Looks like he's going to lock in about 6th or 7th by the time this is all said and done. This is, with the competition so close, these guys are so tight. Every second matters. And that's why you see guys like Mora trying to fudge on the pit, take as least amount of fuel as possible and still get to the end. I think Joe may have called it. That's an awful fast pit stop, and we'll have to keep an eye on him on the last lap. Even though he may have checked out on the field and stolen the towels from the motel room, I think we better watch, because he may run out of fuel at the last lap.
You mentioned Amjad. You mentioned Amjad Yaman a bit earlier, and he exited right behind Brad Wooten. I mean, there was barely a car length between them. He's trying to hold on, so it looks like maybe he doesn't have the pace for Wooten. So that could have been a missed opportunity. If he could have just been maybe a half a second faster on his pit stop, he might have been ahead.
I was
looking at that, Joe. Sorry, Bill. I was just looking at that, and I wondered, he must have been in the pits. I didn't actually see him pit, but at the moment he is behind Brad Wooten, and dare I say, struggling a little bit to hold pace with Brad. Brad has continued to impress us with every single race that he's raced here, and sitting right now in third place behind Sergio Mura and João Freitas. João Freitas, by the way, seems to be catching Sergio Mura slowly but surely. So that is another factor that needs to play out as they are on lap 24. Only about 11 laps left as they cross the line here now. So it's going to be interesting these last few laps, Bill.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm prepping for my back marker review. We'll get that out of the way. So let me get with GL and I'll get back to you guys.
Richard, I just wanted to go ahead and point out that Sergio Mora actually had a really good strategy coming into the pits early and then coming back out where he did. Bill pointed out earlier, maybe it was Joe pointed out early, that he got held up by Chuck Johnson and a few other drivers earlier on. So I'm actually impressed to see that he was able to get around those drivers and make up that much time to come out in front of Yao Freitas and Brad Wooten. So good job on Sergio's part for getting the right pit call today.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it looks to me like Yao Freitas is not making any further impression on Sergio Mura. We know he's very fast here. In fact, he's pulling away a little bit from Yao Freitas now. So Sergio doing a great job here and showing why he deserves to win this race if indeed he does win it. Brad Wooten and Yao Freitas, lots of space between them at this point in time. So we might go to Bill Zahn, who has our back marker salute ready for us. Bill?
Okay, it's the back marker 60-second salute brought to you by, who is it? Eagle Nest Tavern. Sorry, there's our sponsor. Let's start the clock. And we're going to start our back marker review with, in the 15th spot, Craig McKenzie in that yellow car. He's his rookie season for him. He's doing very well. Giancarlo, we're going to go back one spot because I see he's past Jeffrey Bell. So we'll go back to Jeffrey Bell in that kind of orange and with yellow striped car. This is also the first season for Jeffrey Bell. He's currently running in 6th place. We're going to move up now to number 14th, Benjamin Lanowet. He's a veteran of the series. Actually, he's a Ironman award champion one year, I think from season 5, I believe. He's in that beautiful black car there with the lots of little, I think they're video game icons on there for his sponsor. One spot right ahead of him in a battle is the Roadster loyalist, Jonathan Kerr. As I look here, I got 10 seconds left. We'll go one more up to my compadre. The IRT judge is Mihai Masison up there in that kind of yellow car with the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil monkeys on the front of it there. And that gets us all the way up to 12th. Back to you at the front.
Thank you, and we remind you that that segment is sponsored by the Eagle Nest Tavern in Green Valley Lake. Do check them out if you're up that way, folks. I want to come back straight away to Amjad Yaman and Brad Wooten. The battle is on here, and this is for the 3rd place. Amjad has caught up onto the back of Brad Wooten, Brian, and it looks to me like he will be challenging soon because he seems to be in a bit of a groove now, and certainly right on the back of Wooten.
Yeah, Amjad's having a great race, man. I really like his consistency today. He's been able to stay out of trouble, and his pit stop, if I remember right, went pretty smoothly. So it's good to see him keeping up with Brad Wooten. Brad Wooten also is having a great race. I'm surprised he got this far back to Yao Freitas, but then again, Sergio Mora and Yao Freitas are both having incredible races, and they have just showed time and time again why they are so fast. So it is great racing up here in the front half of the field there, Richard. So it looks like my technical problems are gone now, so let's get back to racing.
All right, well, Amjad did have a little bit of a look on the outside there. He decided to tuck back in. Brad Wooten is not going to be easy to pass, so Amjad is sizing him up there by the looks of things now. We do know a lot about Amjad, and I just want to bring Joe in here. Joe, tell us a little bit about Amjad.
Well, Amjad is known as the Doctor in this series, and he earned that nickname by his pit strategy and being able to win races simply on out-strategizing everybody else. He's got a big brain up there, and he almost pulled it off once again with Brad, like I mentioned earlier. But the other thing about it is he is so consistent. He really just minimizes his mistakes and keeps his car up there even when he doesn't have the pace. And he said earlier in this season he is looking to make his Helio Castro Neves run, that he's just trying to rack up those points and stay in it just by keeping away from the trouble. And I think he's doing a good job right now holding on to this 4th spot.
Absolutely, and he is looking, I have just got a little feeling here that he is not all that keen to challenge just yet for the third position. He's holding station behind Brad Wooden. He's not trying to make any strong moves like going to the inside or anything like that. He's waiting for the laps to run out. The problem is if he waits too late, he might find it too difficult to pass Brad Wooden. But while we have an opportunity, everyone seems fairly strung out at this point. This is the battle for third place. We'll keep an eye on that, but let's check in with Bill and see what's happening further back. Bill?
You know, I'm going to go to the front for once. I don't get to go up here very much. I've been watching Yao Freitas and our leader, Sergio Mora. This may not come down to fuel. Freitas may be able to run him in. I think he's going to close enough now to get within the toe. And he's right there right now. I'm going to look for him to make a pass for the lead here in the next lap or two. This is going to be very exciting.
Well, I got to say, just looking at Sergio Mura, he knows it as well, because he was all over the grass there on the right hand, and there he's out in the dirt as well, going into Big Bend. So he knows that Freitas is behind him, and he can see that Freitas is closing. So it seems to me, Brian, he's starting to slightly overdrive the car, and that's dangerous, because in fact he might put himself out of the race if he keeps doing that, as again he brakes very late there and in fact loses time in the hairpin. So I think he's overdriving the car there, Brian.
Yeah, it would appear that way, especially because it looks like there's either a back marker or a slower car also in front of Brad Wooden and Amjad Yaman. When you start getting factors like that are just out of your normal realm that can disrupt your rhythm, you tend to overdrive your car or make mistakes, and that's really where you gotta, as a driver, rein yourself back in, calm yourself down, and make sure that you're hitting your marks and running your pace the way that you practice, or you are in jeopardy of losing your position and possibly a win.
Yeah, that's right. And going back now to the battle for third place, we do see Brad Wooden has a slower car. That's Jonathan Keir there in front of him. Jonathan goes really wide, allows the third and fourth place Amjad Yaman to pass him. Good driving from Jonathan Keir right there. And these guys can continue their battle. They haven't lost any time to each other. In fact, if anything, Brad Wooden has pulled away slightly. They do have another slower car in Kim Vater in front of them. He could be a factor
Freitas
at
is
the
making a
end
move
of
for
the
the
long
lead.
straight. Go ahead.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Rich. We have Freitas. Oh, he tried to go on the outside of Mora. Freitas is all over Sergio Mora right now for the lead. I didn't mean to cut in.
We're going
Now
on
we're
board
going on
with
board
Freitas.
with Yao Freitas, so we'll be able to see the action as he sees it. I'm just wondering whether Sergio Mura doesn't have a little damage, and that's why he's driving the car so hard to stay ahead of Freitas. Freitas now has a look on the inside, decides it's not the place to try a pass. Sergio Mura very fast through there, actually gains a little bit of time as Yao Freitas has to brake. Now they come into this sweeping right-hander, very fast corner. You basically just step the brakes and let it go, and then you have to slow down a lot more for the right-hander 90-degree turn here as you go from the crossover from the short track onto the normal track once again. Sergio Mura handled that pretty well, I thought, and now has gained a couple of car lengths as he goes wide again onto the sand. So that's not going to help him at all. So the battle here is for first place. We also have a battle now between Wooden and Amjad Yaman. As usual, this series is bringing up an exciting finish as we only have 4 laps to go. Brian, good grief.
Well, it's only 2 weeks in a row. We have time to figure it out before the end of the season. Sergio Mora might be slowing down right now because he's trying to save fuel, as Bill Zahn mentioned over in the race notes on the side of the screen. Bill, can you talk a little bit about that strategy, and is that something that Sergio Mora is actually likely to do?
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. I'm not that talented. I can only drive. I basically have one speed, and that's slow. But I know if they lift early going into the corner, if they shift a little bit early, and here's Freitas all over him. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep Freitas away from him here, especially if he's trying to make his car wide because he's running out of fuel. We got quite a battle. We got those two guys, and then back we got Wood and Yaman at us. So we'll keep an eye on both these battles for you guys.
All right, so we're now on lap 32, 4 laps to go. The laps are winding down real quick at the moment, so it's going to be quite exciting as we see now. I'm with Amjad Yaman. He's still on the back of Wooten. Wooten's done a great job in keeping him out. Wooten now goes defensive, stays on the inside. Amjad Yaman has to go to the outside, which is not the ideal position. Wooten crosses to the outside and blocks Amjad Yaman. Not really blocking, he's entitled to do what he just did, but prevents Amjad Yaman from making a move. Amjad Yaman right on the back of Wooten as they go around towards the start finish. Wooten now on the outside. Amjad Yaman has his best opportunity on the inside, breaks later. They both go in side by side, but it looks like Amjad Yaman will come away with the third place. Wooten doesn't give up. He's now on the outside once again, trying to take the position back. Amjad Yaman covers him. He stays on the inside. They go around the sweeper, and Amjad Yaman does a terrific job there. Actually takes Brad Wooten, has to kind of slow down to give Amjad Yaman space, and he's now in fourth position. So, Brian, what's happening up the front?
Actually, I'm watching the same battle you are, and basically Amjad Yaman positioned himself in a way that if Wooten didn't back off just a little bit, he was risking getting a big part of the car, Amjad Yaman's car, right in the side of his door. So, you know, it was a gutsy move, but it pulled off for Yaman, and those are the kind of moves we need to be making as long as they're clean and legitimate attempts here on lap 33. Sergio Mora and Yao Freitas are both still going at it pretty strong, so we have these great battles going on the front. Richard, they've been going on for a while now. Let's see what you're focusing on.
Okay, well, I'm on that battle with Freitas and Mora. They've got a couple of slower cars. We see Craig McKenzie and Benjamin Lanowit in front of them. Sergio Mora has to negotiate these two guys. They come to the fast sweeper. Yao Freitas keeping a watching brief. Sergio goes to the inside. He's past Lanowit. Freitas does pass Lanowit safely as well. Sergio Mura now has Craig McKenzie in front of him. Benjamin Lanowit actually got up to the side of Freitas there. That was pretty risky. Mura goes to the inside. No, he's now on the outside for the sweeper coming towards Big Ben. This could be risky. He's got to slow down behind Craig McKenzie. Bad driving, Craig. That has slowed Sergio Mura down significantly. We've got Freitas right on the back now. Craig McKenzie still in it at this point in time. Back off, Craig. Let the leaders pass. Now they come into the hairpin. Sergio Mura still in front of Freitas, but the battle is on. And bear in mind, 34 laps down. They go into the last 2 laps now. Brian, what's happening with Amjad and Brad Wooten?
Well, Brad Wooten made a very, very good pass on Amjad Yaman, so he's going to be taking the third position back as they come back towards the start-finish line. Amjad does not want to go down without a fight, though. He's been looking inside and outside as we approach the white flag. Right now, it looks like Amjad's going to try and go inside again. Is he going to make it? No, he tucks back in behind Brad Wooten. Brad Wooten is going to take a defensive stance here. All he has to do is finish one more lap.
Yeah, Freitas is all over Mora. Let's go up there and keep an eye on this.
Yep, I'm with it at the moment. Freitas right on the back. Freitas attempted a move on Mora. Mora closed the door on him. There was a slight contact, nothing to write home about. But right now they're on the second last lap, and Sergio
He's out of fuel.
Mora trying to make the turn. So Freitas just launched the car into the turn and took the spot from him. He's now leading this race. Unbelievable through that turn. They just launched the car through. Now they come through Big Bend. They're approaching the hairpin on the second last lap. When they cross the line right now, it will be the last lap. Sergio Mura, let's see what he does. Can he respond to what Freitas just did? Because that was a magnificent move. Brian?
I'm watching... All right, it looks like the leaders across the line. We got Brad Wooten with Amjad Yaman all over the back of them as they are coming up to the final
Actually,
feet.
I'm sorry. João Freitas has actually just taken the win with Sergio Mora coming in second right behind him.
I was just about to call that. Thank you, Joe. Sergio Mura crossed the line, immediately steered into the wall, and they do what they normally do, and they have accident time. Now, back to you, Brian. The looks like Brad Wooten got third place in the end. Amjad Yaman did get fourth place. These guys have all crossed the line. We'll have to go much further back to see who is still racing. Simon Van Dune, it looks like he's approaching the line just now. And yes, he's just passing the start finish. So a bunch of guys still finishing up here. Mihai Messerson still coming around the last, the hairpin, sorry, and he'll negotiate the S's and go towards the line. So he's about the last of the drivers on the lead lap. Craig McKenzie is already out. Benjamin Lanouette is still racing, but looks like the guys have finished the race. So we'll let it all settle down. We'll go to our break now, and we'll come back and give you the actual standings, and we'll do some interviews. And welcome back, folks, to the GreenValleyLake.com MX-5 World Tour. What a race we just saw. It was in two parts. First and second was an absolute battle in the final lap, as was the third and fourth place battle, and these guys did a fantastic job. But there are winners and there are guys who did not win. So, Bill, why don't you take us through the top 10 right now?
Okay, we'll go ahead. Our winner today from Portugal in the Cozy Cabins car is João Freitas. That's his third win of the season, and it gives him a good chance to take over the points championship right now as well. Second place, Sergio Mora. Another, Portugal goes 1-2 here. Third place from Australia, Brad Wooden. Anjed Yaman from Texas. Fifth place, Timo Tulianen. Sixth place, Arthur Chan. Seventh place, Sam McAleer. That's a good finish for young Sam. Good job, Sam. Eighth place, Stefan Overgaard. Nice to see him in the top 10. Ninth place, Heinrich Lawrence from South Africa. And 10th is Simon Van Doon, who ran out of gas on the last lap and limped to the cross for 10th. 11th place, we'll go back to you, Rich.
Okay, 11th place was Chuck Johnson, who had a quiet race, but a good finish right there on his return to racing. Mihai Messerson in 12th, Craig McKenzie in 13th, Benjamin Lanouette in 14th, and in 15th place, Jonathan Keir. Bill, Brian, why don't you call the last few for us?
Yeah, after Jonathan Keir, we had Stefan Morian, who had some drama earlier on, same with Jeffrey Bell, followed by Kim Vader in 18th. Uros Jelenko, surprising finish for him. He had some major contact. He comes in 19th. PR Sundarisa Warren. I'm sorry about that. I know I butchered that name, but we'll get to know you through the rest of the series, I'm sure. 21st is Yarianis. 22nd was Joseph Arrow, followed by 23rd in our final position with Tom Rathie.
Great stuff. So a few of the drivers fell out there. Yanis did have another terrible race. When is he going to have a good race? We would like to see him racing up near the front, which he normally does in the early part of the race. Well, folks, we do have some interviews for you. And first up, we would like to bring in Amjad Yaman. And once we have him in the booth, which he is there now, I will have a chat to him. Amjad,
Hey.
another good race from yourself and a big, big battle with Brad Wooden at the end there.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I think I could have had him, but on that, I had a chance to jump in the pit stop, but traffic got in my way. If it wasn't for that traffic while I was taking that long pit stop, I would have come out ahead of him. Not saying I would have beat Brad in the end, but I would have loved a shot of leading for a little bit.
Yeah, you're just off the podium there. Brad Wooden seems to have come of age and is now mixing it with you guys.
I don't think he's coming of age. He's the real deal. I mean, he is that fast, and he's going to be a threat in this series in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, there's no doubt. So Amjad, when the race started, what were you thinking? Podium?
I was thinking podium, yes. I think I had the speed today, and I kind of played bumper cars a little bit, kind of staying with the lead pack, but it took a little damage, and then I had to calm myself down. And thankfully, I had that opportunity to run laps by myself in that long pit stop.
Okay. Now I want to ask you a question here, Amjad. It seems like this season you've got some more speed from somewhere. What do you attribute that to? Because you're certainly faster than you were last season.
I am pretty much dedicated to this series. I mean, I practice at least 30 minutes whenever I can after work, and with the field this strong, I mean, I have to practice every day, and I want to win. So that's something that I had to do to come find the speed.
Okay. Well, it's certainly paying off with the places you're getting and the championship points you're racking up. Thank you for talking to us, Amjad. We wish you well for the remaining races, and we want to see you up there on the podium more often as well.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So having said that, let us pull in our next place. We have got Sam McAleer, and I believe Bill Zahn will be talking to Sam.
Sam, it's so good to have you here in a post-race interview. You've had a rough season. It's good to see you posted 7th place. You're in a great battle all day long, it looked like. How did your race go?
Yeah, my race was quite good. Gier was a bit of trouble behind me, so I was trying to hold him off, and then he managed to get in front of me and spun off, and I wasn't sure what way his car was going to go, so I ended up hitting the barrier, and I got some major damage that was causing me to lose a lot of speed on the straights. So every time we got on the straight, when I was following Arthur at the end, I just couldn't keep up with him.
So what? That was the Urianis one where Urianis went off?
Yes, I went into the wall.
I didn't know. You know, we watched that. I didn't see that happen. Well, then that's even a more impressive victory for you. How much time? You know, we just talked to Amjad Yaman. He talked about how much time he has to invest to stay competitive. I know you're in school. You got a lot of stuff going on. How much time do you actually put in practicing for these races ahead of time?
I put absolutely none in up until practice today, and I joined late in practice as well. So I only had about 25 minutes, half an hour to get up to speed.
Well, considering that what you were up against there, 7th place is a good finish for you. What's your schedule next week? You gonna be able to make the Charlotte race?
Yeah, I should definitely beat Charlotte. I don't really have very good results previously at Charlotte, but I'll try my best.
Okay, we'll look forward to you. You're one of my favorites. I like to keep an eye on you through the race, and I'm happy with the top 10 today for you.
Thanks very much, Bill.
Okay, back to you, Rich.
Okay, thank you for that, Bill. Now, we do have the winner of our race, and Brian Coleman's going to have a chat with none other than Jalfredus. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, Zhao, congratulations on your win today.
Hi, Brian. Thank you.
Now, there's a question I want to ask you, and be as honest as possible. What were you thinking when you made that move on Sergio Mora for the lead?
I think I had a brain freeze. I wasn't thinking too much, honestly. Uh, that went very well, but it could have gone a lot worse if Sergio didn't take it easy with me.
It was an impressive attempt, nonetheless, and obviously it paid off because you walked away with a win. How is your car feeling today?
Yeah, the car was feeling excellent. I love this track. It's one of my favorites, so I was expecting to be fast.
We had a lot of fast front runners, not here today, and then yours, Jalenko, had a crash earlier on. Did that affect your mindset coming in today, or did you still take it with a pretty aggressive attitude?
Sounds like Fredis is still there, but he's not responding at this point in time.
I'll answer for
Yo.
him. I was aggressive all the way. I always go to win. There, back to you, Rich.
All right, Fredis has dropped out there, must be experiencing some technical problems. Well, folks, that is about it for today. Fredis, a very, very good win, a fantastic challenge on Sergio, which he pulled off and took the win on the very last lap. So a great race from a whole bunch of guys today. But all good things must come to an end. So we want to go now to the final segment, which is to thank everybody. And we want to thank, of course, a number of people for bringing this race to you. Firstly, there's Cozy Cabins, the Eagle Nest Tavern, and the Welcome Inn Bed and Breakfast, who are sponsors of the series. We appreciate their sponsorships greatly. For more information about Green Valley Lake, which is the best kept secret in California's San Bernardino Mountains, please visit www.green-valley-lake.com, and you can read all about these sponsors of ours right there. Bill, we also want to thank you for being the organizer of this absolutely great league. We love it. We also want to thank iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, and Ava Media for providing the software and hardware that we use for the broadcasts. Thanks also to the broadcast team today, Brian, Bill, Giancarlo, and myself, yours truly, Richard. If you do like to find out more about us, please do so. We are GSRC, Global Sim Racing Channel, and our website is www.globalsimracingchannel.com. There you will find our broadcast schedule along with some archived races and also highlights of past races. We're also on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel. We're everywhere. A special thank you to Eric Ekholm, who provides us with some great music. You can find it not only here on GSRC, but also in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and even Spotify. If you like the music, please tell Eric where you heard it at ericekholm.com. Thanks also to Casey Lalonde, who provides us with the music for the highlight videos. You can find more of his music at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. Now, folks, the next race in the series will be next week at Charlotte Road Course on the 8th of March. This will be a night race, so that should be pretty exciting and pretty good. Our next broadcast will be tomorrow. It'll be the Roof Euro Trophy at Zolder Grand Prix, and that is at 1915 UTC, and that features the very popular Roof car. So until then, race hard, race safely, and we'll see you on the track.